Before I start, I'd just like to invite you to put any questions into the chat box. At the bottom of your screen, you should have a chat spot, and you can write questions in that at any time, and I'll attempt to answer as many as I can at the end. Also, there'll be some giveaways if you stay till the end of the workshop or the webinar that could be quite useful for you, I think. But I'd like to now get going and welcome you to this webinar. And I'd like to start at a particular point in time where I was walking on the Camino, and I had retired. This is about 7 years ago. I'd retired, and I had this dream or this sense of being on my deathbed, and I had my family around me. It was really clear, and I had a sense of ready to pass. And then I had this thought, you know, have I spread what I've learned about passion mapping and what I've learned about this work? And I thought, no, I haven't. And I had huge regrets. So the last couple of years I've been unretiring, and I've been basically developed the basis of taking the passion mapping business in a different way and with a much stronger systemic base, if you like. One of the key models that's evolved during that time has been this main model, which I'll get into in a minute, but that really informs everything we do. There's other models too, but I want to also talk about how this whole thing started, because again, quite a long time ago, I was doing a consulting job with a friend, or not a colleague, not a friend, and he said, Peter, before we do this work, I think we should work on you. And that was very encouraging. But we did, and we put post-it notes up onto a whiteboard, and as good consultants do. And then the wind blew a couple down, and I stamped on one, which, and I got a strong bodily response. And then I stamped on another one, and that was another bodily response. And I thought, goodness me, what's going on here? How can I stand on a piece of paper with words in it and have a strong embodied experience? I was doing a lot of yoga at the time, so it was very easy for me to connect with my body. That was the start. I started playing with it and developing ways of sort of getting insight from my body, working with friends who had problems in their lives, and basically it seemed to work every time to alleviate their problems. And all it was pieces of paper talking about what was important and then bringing them together in some way. So that was the start of what I do. Someone along the line said, Peter, what I think you're doing is mapping passions. I'd never thought of this as passion. It was just an interesting process. And I thought, I'll grab that. I'll call this passion mapping. And so that started my journey into passion, what it is, how you can use it, how important it is. And in fact, I don't know whether you're signed up for our daily quotes, but we have quotes about passion most days and quotes about other things as well. So that was the journey. I started I was asked to teach some people how to do the work. And then I had to charge them because I was charged for the place I rented. And then I started a business. And of course, as you know, when you have a business, you need to be professional and you need to have much clearer systems. And that's what happened. So the first phase of what I did was really about sort of passion using passion to explore and understand what's important and also to get to a place in oneself which I would call the wellspring of passion. It's hard to describe this place because most people haven't ever been there. And we get there by getting to the essence of our passions and then combining them in a way which takes us to this really interesting place in ourselves. It's not the same as meditation. So passion in is the first capacity of passion as I see it. The capacity to track it internally, to take you to a place which is the wellspring of your creativity, the wellspring of your life force in a way. And so that's the first thing that we do in terms of, or the first capability or power of passion. Now, if you want to do that yourself, there are plenty of ways to do that, to focus on where your passion's coming from. But you do need to be aware of and mindful of what's happening in your body, how it's arising, mindful about when your body is expressed, and making sense of that. You can make sense of that through journaling. You can make sense of that through drawing. But how do you take what you're experiencing in your body and ultimately turn that into an action plan as to take you on a journey of authenticity in life and power? So there's different ways that we can use. We can use awareness processes. We have you can use different types of meditation, and then at the end of the meditation, intentionally go to a place within yourself. You can obviously do things like Tai Chi, martial arts, and Tantra is a wonderful way to understand the energy that's happening in your body and in your partner's body, and to appreciate the energetic differences between men and women. And I mean appreciate them, that they're incredibly powerful together. So the first thing about that is to have the awareness and to practice connecting through to this place. When you get to this place in yourself, you usually feel whole, you feel strong, you feel really powerful actually, but soft and gentle and really clear. And that's the place that the work that we do takes people to. You can go there yourself in your own ways. So what we're talking about is actually mapping and understanding the life force, because I think passion is life force. I've done lots of events where I've asked people what passion was, huge numbers of divergent responses. But when you ask people what they feel when they feel passionate, by far the most common is to feel energy in the body. And I don't believe you can actually work with passion unless you work with that energy. And there are ways to do it. And, we've been at this for probably nearly 20 years now. So we've developed a few things that really work for people. And that's the reason I'm having this event, to give you some insight into that and to give you a pathway if you choose to take it forward. So, as I said, to go inwards, embodiment, awareness, passion mapping is another. Tai Chi, martial arts, Tantra, insight writing. Insight writing is a process that we use in a number of ways in complex situations. And it's about emptying the mind, emptying the conscious mind, and allowing the lucid mind to come through. Because we know so much more than we think we know. And accessing that is important in any situation. So that was the first journey. Then as soon as we had a business, then, we needed to develop precision around the way we worked. We need to have professional documents. We developed a template for our work where all the elements came together in one place so people could take that away. And that came just from someone saying, look, I want something to take away. Most of what's happened in this business have been through people saying, hey, Peter, why don't you do this? Or can you do that? And one of my elements of my passion map is oh, sure, oh, shit. I try and say yes to everything and then work out how the hell to do it afterwards. So that's happened a number of times and really in key parts of the business. So we developed these discs, particular shaped discs, and they are they're really a representation, a physical representation or visual representation of energy. Energy obviously is unseen. It's unknown often. It's experienced. It's not thought about much. But in terms of creating a visual representation, it's given us the ability to do all sorts of things that we wouldn't have otherwise done. And then when we started the business, we also started to have models for how passion worked with EQ, interacting self with the environment or context, and levels of cognitive processes. Because in this process of deep dive, you go down to the deepest place in yourself, and then you come up through these different layers in a structured way to get back to a place where you can take authentic action. So that developed, and we did thousands of maps. We've done thousands of maps. I've trained over 100 people around the world. But mind you, this is before, like 10 years ago when I retired. Some people are still doing a few maps here and there, but nothing like the intensity we had before. And then we're asked to do work for teams. And then that's where we start to get to Passion Out, which is the second part of, I should have put this up before. I had trouble with the videos, so. It's not working, it's stuck. I am sorry. The webinar is stuck. I've just had a new NBN on today, so I can go through without the slides. Oh, here we go. So the model is in, out, together, and space. We've gone through to in. In is the process of going inward, whether it's individual or whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in a team. How do you go into the essence of self, the essence of relationship, the essence of team identity? And how do you go upstream effectively, like a trout goes upstream and in the water? How do you get to the source? So, and there are clear ways to do that. Out is what most people think about passion generally, and it's actually taking the direction of passion and moving outwards. So when we started using with teams, we needed to work more with purpose, with intention, and to develop a way forward. So that's what I call out. And the tools for going out, are really about understanding where your passions want to take you. You can journal. It's a great place to have a coach. You can again use insight writing. One of the things that is critical in this whole process of going out is having, what are the qualities I actually need to build so that I can lead a passionate life? What are they? Often people find they need to develop courage to be able to live authentically. They know what they want to do. They're clear about the future, but they don't have courage. So going out, it's really important, I think, to identify the qualities of being that you need. And in fact, when we do a mapping process, it doesn't work unless we work with qualities and things that people want to do. That's when the thing coheres. And my experience of a lot of corporate things is, particularly teamwork, is people come together, they identify what they want to do, they create goals, but they don't actually create the who are we in this situation? Who are we together? And how do we become the team that we want to be so that can work? Now I'm going to take this off again. Oh no, here we go. So passion in, passion out. Passion, it's easy. That's the one we think about. Now the next one is passion together. There we go. Sorry, we're having trouble with this. Sorry. Okay. Moving into the area of teams and also relationships brought us to the power of intention and how critical power of intention is through all of this process. We didn't really use it much until we got to this point. And it is extraordinarily powerful because if you think of a passion map as like a collective of the energies that make something possible, or the collective life force that exists either in an individual or a relationship or a team, it's a unique pattern. But if you take the case, for example, of a working couple, they have two relationships really. One is as colleagues, business colleagues, and one is as intimate couple. And if they both develop a clear intention as to, or a shared intention as to what they want in both of those parts of their life, they end up with totally different energetic patterns. The parts of themselves they bring together to work are different from the parts they bring together at home, but getting clarity makes the relationship operate much better. And it's all based on intention. What's the intention? Working together in a team, what's the intention for this, highest intention for the team? And I'm a fan of intentions. You know, what's the intention for this meeting? What's the intention for, calling this client? You know, what's basically the intention? And I think we don't do enough of that. The next part of the, if you like, the model is about inner space. We create inner space. We create spaces, not only inner space, we create spaces around ourselves. And we do carry, and we carry an energetic body around us. And if someone who doesn't know you comes too close, you feel really uncomfortable because they cross the barrier. Another thing you can try in terms of your own space is have someone walk towards you from from maybe 20 meters away, and there's a time in which you can feel them. So you can feel them, and when they get closer to you, you can feel them with their etheric body. So energy is everywhere. And we only see that most tiny fraction. I was looking up how much energy there is in one, using E equals mc squared, in 1 gram. 1 gram of matter, and it's 10,000 tons of TNT. So the capacity to use passion is unlimited. Passion and energy is unlimited. But passion in a space is actually going to a place internally, both individually and collectively, and holding that space. We talked about how to get there, but then when you get there, how do you hold it? How do you get back to that place? How do you anchor it so you can get it at any time in your life? And the final part of this is physical space. Having done thousands of maps, the most common element is being in nature or something to do with nature. And it beggars belief, really, that if that's the most important thing and that brings people alive more than anything else, why do we ruin our environments? It's just extraordinary. So physical space is important. And I would really recommend that if you're working, that every day you have some time in a natural space. Now, some people do that through their gardens. If you can do it through a natural space, that's better. And if you can't do that, at least have a picture of a beautiful place that you love and you just connect with it every day. And if if you're running workshops or if you're having meetings, again, it's really, our experience is you get much better outcomes if people are in a beautiful place and a natural place, and they open up. Their capacity to connect with themselves opens up. One of the things I didn't mention on the way through is when, having a business, it also becomes important to assess results. And the results that have come through assessing outcomes is amazing. Clarity of purpose, vision, access to creativity, setting your own priorities, making life decisions, being passionate about work, a sense of potential, access intuition, having a meaningful life, being vital and energetic, communicating what's important, happy about the way you manage your emotions. So all of those have a big kick in successful programs. If you want to see any of those results, call me or email me or talk to me. I'm happy to discuss any of this work with you. And one of the things that I always like to say is, if you're not living on your passions, you're not fully alive. Passion is what brings you alive. It's what brings a sporting team alive. It's what brings, a group of meditators alive. It is the life force. It's simple, but it's not so simple to take energy and the unseen into a place where we can get authentic action. So I would welcome questions, and I'd welcome your comments about what I've talked about. I'd welcome your challenges. I'm happy to talk, if you want to take this further, I'm happy to talk to you about what current events we have and how you can engage with us more. And we also have a LinkedIn group. We've just started only a couple of months ago. We've got about 150 members already, and it's called Passion Leaders. And there's some really, really good conversations happening about leadership and passion, which I'd invite you to join. So, do we have any questions? Here's a question from Ben Kavanagh. Can some physical natural places be distracting and get in the way of completing a goal? Or are they always effective at bringing out best in people? Great question. I think it depends. I think it depends on what the purpose of being in that place is. But if it's about self-reflection, if it's about experiencing oneself deeply, it's the best possible way to do that. I mean, I find also if I'm working outside, and I actually happen to live in a beautiful place, but if I'm working outside, sometimes a beautiful bird will come past and just grab my attention. And yes, it is distracting. So it's a matter of time and a place for that. And there's another question here is, why do you think other people haven't done what you're doing? I think the way I would answer that is that it's taken really the best part of 20 years to build a whole set of tools in working with passion and energy so that we can do the same things that other people can do, but we can do it with passion and passion and purpose, which comes out of passion. So I think it's a pretty daunting thing starting from scratch, but I've tried to give you a sense of how this all evolved from us, and it evolved from something very simple, which we didn't even think was related to passion. And it's grown and grown and grown to the point where we've been able to work in different countries with different age groups, with different people, and it always seems to work. I mean, all the religions say know thyself. And if you do, life changes. You know, if you have a strong sense of yourself, you build authenticity and presence and confidence and almost impregnability, because whatever people say, you're not going to, you know, you are who you are, and you know who you are and you love who you are. So I'm getting off the track a bit, but I think that's one of the reasons. It's just been a combination of circumstances that have made this happen. And there have been so many people who've actually added a dimension by saying, how about this, or how about that, or how about something else? And I think, for example, someone asked us to run a retreat with wives, and high-level retreat with wives, and asked me, can you do that? And I said, oh, sure. But we didn't actually have a proper relationship program. So in a matter of about 6 months, we had to have, you know, like 10 trained facilitators, very skillfully running relationship mapping programs. And again, that wouldn't have happened if someone hadn't asked us. We wouldn't have done it. Okay, so I think that's enough for that. The next question is from Melanie. It asks, how do you help people to say they have no passion or they can't find their passion? I would dispute, my answer would be, I would dispute that they have no passion. Everybody has passion, and they have many passions. Well, they have some primary ones for sure. But a lot of people are out of touch with their passion. A lot of people are out of touch with their bodies. And if you're out of touch with your body, you're out of touch. You know, it's hard to find your intuition. It's hard to find your creativity. It's hard to find your passion. So that's the first thing. I would encourage them to do that. Demonstrate that there are some things that they do get. They do get a shiver up the spine, or they do get sweaty hands, or they, you know, there's something that people are getting that they notice about their bodies. And, you know, as a coach or facilitator, you can also mirror back to them, look, this is what I'm seeing, you know, you just moved your hands, or what are you feeling in this leg, or whatever it is. So bring them to a place of embodiment. And then even a little bit gets through. I remember, you know, there's a tendency when doing this work with people that you think, well, that didn't go very well. You know, she didn't get it, or he didn't get it, and be totally and utterly wrong. I mean, I think I've had a situation where that's been true for me. People have said that, and I've said, well, actually, I'm remembering a woman who just found one thing that she had energy in and created the map, and that turned out to be totally life-changing for her. And in terms of connecting with her passion, she connected with other ones. Now, in many languages, in most languages, in fact, passion is a verb and not a noun. And so living passionately is what you're going for rather than the specific passions. Specific passions give you direction. Can you just hold on 1 second, please? I have to plug something in. Otherwise, I'll go offline. Yeah, I think that answers that question. This question from Roy. Different personality types internalize and express passion differently? Absolutely. How do you enable different types to connect to their interpretation? Get away from one size fits all. First thing is, I think our work is underneath personality. It's underneath gender, it's underneath personality, it's underneath culture, and it's underneath emotions, it's underneath thoughts. It's the raw essence of life that we're playing with. So we don't go into personality types. If I'm a coach and I'm coaching someone, that might become a way that I help people think about what their goals are, think about their relationships. But that's separate from what we do here. My interest is in creating the tools and helping people to live from their heart and soul rather than their money and their mind, which I think is what drives most people. And I think just about every, whether it's Myers-Briggs or another personality profile or brain dominance instrument or qualities inventories, whatever it is, they all have a structure. They all have a filter in which we see the world through. Whereas this work is actually, how does my life force express itself in a pattern? And it is quite remarkable how that pattern forms. Typically, it has about 20 elements. They're things that you love to do, and they're actually qualities to make it possible. And each of them, it comes after an exploration of where's the energy here. So you might be interested in golfing, for example, but where's the real sweet spot there? Is it about seeing the ball hit off? Is it seeing the ball go in the tee? Is it the feeling in your body hitting the perfect shot? Is it, seeing your mates after a game of golf in the club? Or if you're a dancer, there'll be an essence of that too. So there might be a phrase like being the dance, or dancing the dance, or being a great dancer, or letting the dance dance me, or, there'll be a phrase there that actually carries the essence of the activity. And my thinking is that if you get the phrase right, it probably has 10 times as much energy as anything else. This is where precision comes in helping people understand their passions. Okay. Now, another question from Uwe. Under stress, physical and mental, suppress passion? Yes. If yes, how do you deal with it? Well, you deal with the stress. But if you do have a place to go back to in yourself, this place of deep essence that I mentioned, if you can go to that place, then you can actually see the stress from that place. You can see how, you can watch your thought processes. You can be the observer of your own self. And I think my experience is a lot of deep stress or depression is actually like a spiritual disconnect. And I think the work that we do is about connecting to spirit. We don't use that word, but there is a spiritual element to this. And if you can integrate, you know, from a spiritual place, often you can see those stress responses. Of course, that doesn't mean that you don't try and deal with those with a counsellor or with your own processes as well. It doesn't mean you don't deal with them through meditation or through other things, but it does suppress basic energy. And I think sometimes the suppression actually causes the stress. And, you know, we're afraid of it. Okay, next question is, oh, I've had that twice. What direction's your work taking you? My goals at the moment are to take this work out and make it, you know, available to people. One of the things I want to do is to help people generate a deep sense of their own purpose and a deep sense of a cause to follow. It's very clear from research that if people have a sense of higher purpose or they have a cause that they are active with, it improves, you know, it increases their happiness. It increases all sorts of things in their life. So I want to create like a free app which enables people to do that and enables them to take action in, particularly in the environment, which really concerns me. We have some pretty big impacts here in Australia, but I think it's only the, you know, the first of, you know, it's only a taste of what's to come. And I want to be able to empower people who feel disempowered, who feel that they can't make a difference, to that they can actually make a difference. And again, from a deeper place in themselves, they can. From a normal intellectual place, they can't. So that's one of the things I want to do. The other thing that is really a big dream for me is to deal with the New Year's resolution issue or the leadership issue. Most leadership programs don't work. You know, people don't carry through on what they learn in their leadership program, you know, 80% or more. And New Year's resolutions are the same. People don't follow through. My theory is that a lot of that is because when they make them, or when they do the leadership program, they're in a bigger space. They're in a more conscious, deep, bigger sense of themselves, more positive. And then when they break it, they've lost that connection. So what I want to be able to do is to help people to stay connected so they can actually bridge that gap, especially around leadership programs. And, you know, I run enough offsites to know that you have to give people something that they can take back to the office and operate straight away. Otherwise, it's usually lost, business as usual. So my dream is that we can have processes that enable people to deeply connect with that place and come back to that place themselves, in which way they can be more authentic, more potent, more effective, and that we can run that for a whole organization. Yeah, that's and if the whole organization does it, then they won't be the same pressure to go back to the old because everyone will have been through it. I've seen that happen with teams, but I'd love to try that with a whole organization. So that's what's happening for me. We are getting close to the end of this. Is there any more questions? Please put them up now, or we'll leave them and I'll finish this off. Now, there's just a second. I promised people something if they stayed to the end. We want to give you a little coupon if you decide to do anything with us. We have a few events at the moment, and you might like to join the new program, which we're just piloting and offering it 50% off. And there's a coupon to use there. And also, if you'd like a copy of my book, it's an older book now. It's called The Wisdom of Passion, but there'll be a link there, and you can use the password of Deep Wisdom to get yourself a soft copy. Now, some more things have appeared here. there's another question here which I'll just answer before we go offline. So passion becomes the glue to stick to good intention. Yeah, I mean, that's a complex question. I don't see passion as glue. I see it as a directing force. So if the intention is in line with passion, then it will naturally stick to it. Now, I've been exploring this for years and years, but it seems like a purpose that honors your passion is much more powerful. And in the full program, we help people to find a deep purpose statement. And I'm reminded of someone who I worked with who got a purpose statement of from the haves to the have-nots. He just got this sense, this is what my purpose in life is, from the haves to have-nots. I've got to start a foundation. And he literally ran out the door to do that. I won't forget that in a hurry. It was amazing. And I think, if anything, passion is the glue to action after the intention. Uwe? I think that also happens too. And the passion and purpose are very related. I'm reminded of someone else as well who did a passion map in Australia and just got this really clear vision that he had to go to London to start a company about helping to finance environmental bonds and environmental financing. And he did. He just knew. He got that sense of purpose, off he went. Didn't have to worry about his passion. I mean, his passion took him there. And it's hard, sometimes it's hard to talk about this stuff because I'm talking often in conceptual terms, in terms of a model, but the stories are the things that bring this work alive. And again, I'm reminded of another woman whose passion map ended up like a labyrinth, Margaret Rainburn, and she said, well, that's what I have to do. I've got to work with labyrinths. And she was a doctor. Anyway, a few years on, she's taking groups of people around the world to visit all the different labyrinths. And the intention came out of her passions. The intention to do that came out of her passions. So I think intention is a mental construct, if you like, a mental direction, and it's really important. And it's really important that it aligns with passion to make it gluey. Okay. Thank you, everybody. I've really enjoyed it. I feel honoured that you've stayed and listened to me babble on. And I'd love to talk to you if you're up for that. I'd love you to experience what we do or to come to one of our events. We're running a fantastic program in Bali in September. And we've got something happening in San Diego and we've got something happening in different places. But I just want you to understand, explore and understand your passion and take it into the world to make it a better place. Thank you very much.